him see what he is beginning to see is the issue, and which is what you're seeing. Is there something that he wrote? Do you see what I'm saying is in where he's groping towards?
Yes.
In this part 2?
Yes, because actually he says his blog is about the Finnegan's Wake, which is which for me the Finnegan's Wake is the situation we live in now.
No, bring your phone up.
Yeah, he says his blog is about the Finnegan's Wake, and for me the Finnegan's Wake is the situation we lived in now, and you are talking like Marshall McLuhan said. The professor is the person who talks in somebody else's dreams. So you are talking.
The professor talks in other people's sleep.
Yeah, you are talking as the whole humanity is sleeping.
Yes.
And
I'm talking in their sleep.
You are making this WakeKingpedia to wake everybody up.
and to realize they've been driven to sleep, already. But,
yes, I wanted to say something else. For the Greek, the most sacred place was the Olympus, which was a place where the gods lived. And the second sacred place was the Delphi Oracle, which was the place where humans could engage the non-physical or this other thing, these medias. That, and there, in that place, there was these fumes and all this chemistry going on, and the
young girls babbled, and the priest interpreted what the girls babbled, half of it, not really non-physical, but whatever, according to what the king wanted. But we're presenting
and for me, Joyce,
censorship.
Joyce is like Joyce is like a Delphi priest. Babbling, gibbering, blah, blah, all these things that you have to explain because it's so obscure, so...
Okay, in my tiny note chart, I put myself, my symbol is the mountain. And then if you know anything about me, you know that I'm talking to channels and non-physical and stuff like that. So I put the mountain, the Olympus, I'm a god mountain. And the up the Orphic Ante, I'm including the Delphic phenomenon. So the two sacred spots are retrieved here in Dobstown and Iondom. And remember, Ion named himself Ion, which is where the Oracle Delphi was, apparently. It was in Ionia. What's that? So Finnegan's Wake is not reading Finnegan's Wake. It is understanding that McLuhan translated Finney's Wake. So you read Finney's Wake better by understanding McLuhan. And then you read Eric McLuhan's PhD. And he's got a new book coming out on Manipulative Satire, which is the part of his PhD that didn't get published when his book on Finney's Wake came out in 1997. So that's going to be completed, what you could get if you had access to Eric's PhD, the Manipian aspect. But so you have McLuhan translating Finney's Wake. Then you would, let's see, read Wyndham Lewis to get a concrete, non-verbal collage understanding of what James Joyce was challenging. And then you would go through my conversations with James Joyce through the Evergreens. And then you would experience Ion and see how Ion is the actualization of Finney's Wake. Now, you would read Eric McLuhan's version of Finney's Wake, then you read Don Thiel's. So the translation of McLuhan's original translation of Finney's Wake, there are two avenues, Eric and Don Thiel. And then coming up through the middle is me and Ion. That's the program. Not reading Finney's Wake per se. You can dip into it, but you want to read how McLuhan used Finney's Wake and translate it. Applied Joyce. And you follow that, what I'm saying? Yes.
Yes.
You have said that other place. But, we're not, we don't emphasize just James Joyce. That doesn't work.
No, that's why I say is the WakeKingpedia, is these collections of
memes.
Of works.
Memes and scholarship. And, you know, occasional ayahuasca trip or some RNA drops will help you understand what I'm talking about. Thinning is awake and is squaring by McLuhan and cubing by me is the ritual. That's the ritual. Now, Michael Weinstein just passed on, and he was the mentor of Arthur Croker, and they did a fantastic book, Data Trash, which I think was copyright 1993, but the paperback came out in 1994. And you want to get Data Trash because that's a very good expression of the meaning of fitting its wake, seen through post-sociology or parasociology, parapolitical economy, para and post-aesthetics. That's why, I mean, you actually see in my tiny note chart, which is based on the huge chart called Dobbs Formula, you see Finning's Wake is the ground of the Dobbs Formula chart in that particular chart from 70, 50, 20, 20. But the extreme cancer cell taken out of the Dobbs Formula is the tiny node chart. That's the ever proliferating cancer cell in a positive sense, as Ion talks about the cancer cell. That is a course. The people and environments mentioned on the tiny node chart is the course of perception, schools of thought and perception that Randy Moggins and Alan Steinfeld and Mark, the investor in Wall Street that calls into Ion, and Jim Turner and all these people that are interested in what we're doing need to engage. And you do it by dipping into it. And dip into Croker, LaRouche, McLuhan, Thompson, Dobbs, Ion. You rotate around, as I lay out in my book, Fatty Communion with Bob Dobbs, which has samples from all of them. It's the dipping, and that's what you're doing. You're dipping into each one of these and cross-indexing, always amazed at what you're trying to see is happening right in front of you with the Android meme, and then our counter, our call and response to the Android meme via Ion.
Yes, because my homework, Ion said, report to Bob. I just have to report to you, and you share everything. But
that's right.
I'm just
and now
reporting.
Let's point out that Ion said that to you when you were standing in your mythic stage, which was an art gallery in Berlin. You were at a typical art performance that you've been doing for 20 years in Berlin, in your major entertainment environment, your major environment of professional insight gathering. That's where it happened to you. And that's pretty neat, right?
Yes, and it's just like reporting what I'm experiencing, what I'm understanding, and it's like you have to also to listen to yourself and see yourself and clarify. For some reason, it's part of the recollection.
Right, that you're clarifying the language you've been conditioned by, you know, Spanish, English, German, all this cultural information, which we call mortar, M-O-R-T-A-R, you have to think and talk back to it and through it in the process of ascension.
Yes, I'm like the nymph echo.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm echoing.
And you know, and I can
she could only repeat the last phrases she will hear. So I'm just reporting.
Yes. You're just reporting, and you know, I can be accused of being an extreme narcissist, you know, an extreme narcissistic person.
Well, she fell in love with Narcissus.
Yes.
But she could not tell him, and she could only repeat what he will say, and she sounded so stupid.
She tried to echo back to it, and it didn't work. Narcissist had no clue. And that describes me. That I have no clue what people are trying to echo back to me.
But it's funny because she was also into music, and that was her. She played the flute, I played the flute too.
Right, you know,
it's funny.
It's the ear. What it is, this is, I don't know if this has been said much. Echo represents the tribal oral culture. And Narcissus started to look at himself. He started to get the first look at himself, visual mirror, so that's the writing and the alphabet coming in. And the echo, the acoustic space could not stop the subsumption, this subsuming of acoustic space by the new visual space. That's what that story means.
Yes, and we're in this time where kids take 200 selfies before posting one. Yeah, really. It's
Is that
like
right?
everybody's a Narcissus and
yes. And now let's see, and everybody's an echo, and a few others. Everybody's a Proteus, and all those characters in Ulysses, those gods that played off that James Joyce had in his chart. But to understand that the reason Narcissus, he couldn't hear echo. He went into visual space as a novelty. He didn't care about the ear anymore. The infatuation, the seduction was with the eye. And therefore he couldn't hear echo no matter what she did. I mean, it's literally accurate, the story, in these sensory terms and media analysis. It totally explains it in the best, most practical way you should understand it. Now, what happened in the 20th century was echo came back with the electric environment supporting it, so Narcissus got in trouble. Oscar Wilde got in trouble. The indifferent aesthete, in love with visual space and its artifacts, fell apart. And echo, can you say echo took over? No, because something else took over. Proteus, unbound. You'll see McLuhan talking about Proteus in Laws of Media. Proteus is this phenomenon, God, whatever it is. I think it was the son, the child of Poseidon, of the sea. And Ion says the sea is the image of the Gulf. So you have Poseidon, a result of visual space is an effect on water, and out of it comes Proteus, who is a shapeshifter, can become any form you want. And that's what 20th century media has evolved to, with providing new suits and clothing for you that you can put on. The variety is incredible. So both Narcissus and Echo have been subsumed by Proteus. Now, what is it? Eric McLuhan says in his book, 1999 book of The Electric Language, that I think it's Ariadne, the one who made the thread for the labyrinth. And maybe another version is Penelope, the main figure in Ulysses or the Odyssey. She's endlessly weaving every day, supposedly making something.
I was
then
thinking Ariadne sounds also like ADN, like
oh yes, that's right.
genetics, like that.
Sounds like
to conquer the beast, the Minotaur. There is something that has to happen in the genetics or in the chromosomes.
right. And the Ariadne, you switch the letters around, you get Raidim. But the what was I saying? Proteus, Ariadne, the thread through the labyrinth. Oh yeah, so Eric says that the Penelope figure, or Ariadne, I think, is weaving and unweaving every day. That's people's chip body experience. They weave and make, co-create imagery, and they mesh smoke and mirrors, and then it's shut down in your own perception of it, and then you get up the next day and do it again. And that's exactly what Penelope did. The shroud of the internet is more relevant imagery than Echo and Narcissus.
Yes, and as I made this association, I was thinking how the cognition, the perception, not only in art but in a conversation, it's like how we associate and how we trigger things in our mind. We see a painting and it's not only the scene but what we remember, what we know, what that evokes.
What we fill it in with.
Yes, it's like in the fallen state we were hypnotized by this cognition and perception. We were in this labyrinth, and we were like the Minotaur, just lost in this labyrinth and looking for the foot, the right foot that will take us out of this labyrinth. And
you know, it occurs to me what I was trying to say earlier about the electric environment gets rid of the veil. The actual fallen state doesn't exist anymore under digital conditions. Under five-body conditions, we are not fallen anymore. And so you have nothing but rear-view mirror, screamings and yellings about being fallen. You know, from fundamentalisms in all kinds of different religions to the esoteric and mystic worrying about fallen man and devils and angels. That's part of the perception. That's why Rai, the original separatist, was able to return to essence, the plane of essence, and take Isis back with it to the plane of essence in 1967. That we literally have, as McLuhan said, the highest decibels of consciousness. Well, let's translate that. That means we are not fallen anymore. And yet humans will attempt to convince themselves, to get contrast in ionic terms, that we're fallen. And they're going to do their damnedest to create a fallen situation. But technologically, we have realized the dreams of the Bauhaus school in Germany, you know, tenfold in terms of the population being creative. And there's so many different kinds of creativity going on that the standards of art schools don't apply. The standards of the bankers don't apply. You look like you're ready to say something.
Yes, I was remembering the Snore text. He says, in a way, engaging this environment is like being part of the body, the mystical body of Christ, where everybody... I lost my voice. Every entity is part of this mystical body of Christ. And
well, you know, that's where McLuhan was saying that we had entered into Dante's vision of the Christian body of Christ that everybody's participating in. So we technologically are doing that, but our lack of understanding or desire to understand and see through this new level is what evokes the pain, confusion, and tribulations. The lack of ability of perceiving how we have fulfilled Nostradamus' vision, John the Revelator's vision, the Buddhist vision, Allah's vision, the Zen Buddhist vision, the Hopi vision, all of it. But most of those religions will say, oh, no, we haven't got there yet. We have to go through some kind of pain. Well, what's painful for people is they can't find the pain that'll make the concluding finish line. We got lots of little pain here and there, or fragmented retrievals of different kinds of death. But nobody can make the final death. And this is what Baudrillard pointed out. The end, the illusion of the end. We cannot make the final, concluding, disastrous rapture, mass death, in the TV body, iconography-wise, as an icon, cannot be recognized as we've had enough and we've killed ourselves and we aren't here anymore. We're not even going to be able to realize that we aren't here anymore and still here. So McLuhan said this mystical body of Christ that's been etherealized by electric media is a godsend and a problem. He said it's the Antichrist, and yet it is the highest decibel of consciousness. So he was looking at both situations, which is what Znore, that's Z or Z, Z-N-O-R-E, is oscillating between, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is this a snuffing of the human level or not? And that is, that's the battle for the mind that Bohr used to talk about in the 60s, the battle over the mind. No, it's a battle over your understanding of the mortar situation that has offed itself. Mortar has offed itself. Now it's pretty interesting that mortar has cleaned up its mess.
Yes, because many think that mass media are reflecting the everybody being part of this new world
Here comes
order.
everything.
It's like the new world order becoming a reality, like.
Right, and so the politicians are trying to hijack it, and left, right, center, they're different, ridiculous, even the anarchist visions of saying this is how we get to a realization, a completion, and a new sharing, a new order that's fair and all. They're hijacking, trying to put it in old-fashioned terms. It's whatever the politicians are attempting to arrive at is already happening. And McLuhan used to say that. Any possible scenario you have that you imagine is going to happen in the future is here in its implications and its effect. And that's tough for people to accept.
Yes, but I think actually it's not reflecting the becoming of the New World Order, but of the dissolving of the gulf and the physical melting with us,
right,
becoming physical.
And the endless dissolving of those attempting to define the New World Order or to impose it. It's a dissolving of them too.
Yes, and I think Snorr has a limited view of what he's studying, because he still talks about the global village, and we're beyond that, very far away from that. We're into the multiverse and the parallel worlds.
He told me that he's come to this appreciation of McLuhan late in his existence. And he says it's a great epiphany, and he's just beginning to learn the language of McLuhan. And so I had something else to say about that. So he's just beginning to see it. Oh yeah, and he said that he got to Dobbstown, or Bob's vision, through other means. But I would like to point out to him that everything he cites, the Crowleyite, the Blake, the this, the that, the secret societies, McLuhan studied all that stuff himself. And not that McLuhan got to his understanding through them, but if Snorr is saying that he thinks he got to the McLuhan vision through routes that weren't connected to McLuhan, that's not true. McLuhan studied every possible route to the present epiphany. So any you come up with, that's included. And I saw his notes. Don Thiel gave them to me of all the books. They read hundreds of books. Strange titles I never heard of. He would cover the esoteric, in great depth. So
yes, and another thing I would like to say is he quotes you as pointing out how the secret agencies became interested in McLuhan because he could understand tetrad management. But that's only a very small part of what you understand.
Yeah.
So I think he will really get you, because he has all these.
He's got the background.
He has the background
personality
to understand.
He has
the completion.
No, he's a natural relaxer and allower, I perceive. So he has the temperament to get it faster than many other people. He'll get a lot faster than Randy Moggins will.
Yes.
So I think your time's up, isn't it?
I don't know, because there is so much to talk about the environments being obsolete, and but maybe we can make the conclusion. The thing is, you have to put it in better words than I will. It's like we feed from all these mystical body of Christ that we call medias. We feed from that, and at the same time it feeds from us. It's like
it's
a circuit. We need their outputs, and it's an output and inputs. We need each other. And, well, just explain that.
That's the tactile interplay. You can't tell if it's a chicken or an egg, or who started, what started, are we turning into a hologram, or was a hologram there at the beginning? None of those issues of categorization and visual definition are useful. They are useful to type and to send out to see who salutes it and gets lost in the questions about it. But sitting here in the mountain, it's a process of fake engagement and heavy in participation while watching the mind fail to keep up with the anomalies that gather. And so I have no problem with the fact that I'm being eaten alive by the Android meme, because I got the drops and I can rebuild myself immediately. I can rebuild my cells after they've been eaten by the Android meme. So in effect, I'm eating the Oroborous. I got the advantage over the mouth of the snake. That's the good news.
Yes, it's like
and you see Joyce right
we ate the apple, and now to see and
now
to
the
know
apple's trying to eat us.
No, and now we have the drops too.
Well, the apple started to eat us, 30, 40 years ago. Steve Jobs tried to eat us, and most of us did get eaten and are struggling with the fact of not knowing how to reappear, to rebuild themselves. And then Bob and Carol and JW showed up with the solution of how to nullify the effects of Steve Jobs' consumption job on us.
Yes, and this is the new alchemy you have to get to, not only to understand the new environment, but
to enjoy it.
No, not to exit.
To eat it.
Because otherwise you're going to be obsolete.
No, I mean enjoy it like to eat it. Aren't you leading to the ice out to eat it?
Oh, yes.
Or are you going somewhere else?
No.
Echo. Are you echoing? Which part of it are you echoing?
Yes, that one.
That one, yes. Any one of them.
Then.
So, but you were saying, you objected. You said, oh, okay, we're gotten eaten. You weren't going to say that you eat the ice cell to bounce it off? You were going to say something else?
Well, that this process is still going on. It already happened, but at the same time, it's like...
more to come. There'll always be more to come, because even God doesn't know when to, end it.
And the fascinating is to engage it as it's happening, and the understanding of the great mystery.
That's now the daily breakfast.
The interconnection of the chemistry and the tonality and the word and the reality.
And the botany. Don't forget the botany.
Yes. How these things are affecting each other, making us and the environment.
Right. I'm reading LaRouche's text he put out in 1975 as Lynn Marcus. It was when he was still calling himself, his pen name Lynn Marcus. He put out this pretty incredible book, Dialectical Economics. And he was talking, just tonight I was reading, talking about the two big dramatic changes in Europe as a result of Christopher Columbus and subsequent exploration of your homeland. And he said I forget what the one was, one thing that caused a big change in Europe are the metals. Yeah, getting the metals. But he said the other thing that revolutionized Europe and created new wealth was the Aztec-Inca foods. Aztec-Inca foods.
Yes, because they brought chocolate and corn, potatoes and corn, vanilla, and for example, potatoes were a big thing in Europe, because there was this extreme poverty, and since then has become the food, the people's food.
Yes. And so it was great just seeing him incorporate that in his history of capitalism. From a Marxist point of view, he was doing and highlighting the great wealth and the improvement of the capitalist economy of the United States, of Europe, by what they abstracted. And it was neat to see the words Aztec-Inca foods. I've never seen that before, Aztec-Inca. That's so you and your buddies there in your alley down there north of Mexico City.
Well, but
that was a big deal 400 years ago.
Yeah.
The Toltec miracle.
We were, yeah, but the isol.
You had this
the isol is the food, the real one.
Yes.
The Aztec, Inca, Bobsian food.
It's great to have an Aztec, Incan, Toltec here, continuing the revolution, participating, promoting the new food, because we couldn't have done it without you.
Yes, guten appetit.
Yeah. You French Illuminati bitch, you.
No, I said it in German, like German say.
Oh, I thought it was bon appetit.
No, bon appetit, bon appetit. Buen provecho.
That's French.
Buen
What was
provecho.
the German?
Guten appetit.
Oh, yeah. Gutenberg.
Gutenberg appetit.
Gutenberg. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. It was a fine telephone call.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.